Virginia Republican Bob Good was one of the 8 Republicans who joined Democrats today to vote out Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He joins us now. Congressman, thank you very much. Appreciate you running over.
Hey, Chris, good to be with you.
So, historic day, not the kind of history we probably want to be making, but here we are. So, what's the plan?
Well, I would disagree with that, Chris. This was a win for America. This was a blow against the status quo. This was a blow against the D.C. swamp. This was a blow against the uniparty cartel. There's a reason why Congress has a 20% approval rating. There's a reason why that 80% of the country says that 80% of Americans say the country's on the wrong track. We got $33 trillion national debt, a $2 trillion deficit this year. What we're doing, Chris, is not working. And I say we, impugning both parties to that effect. What we're doing is not working. By what standard of measurement should you suggest that we should maintain the status quo, keep doing what we're doing, don't disrupt anything, so we can continue to get things done, even if they're bad for the American people? What is it, Chris, that you want done so badly that we should just stay the current course and keep doing what we've always done and just get things done, even if they're bad for the American people?
Personally, I'd like you guys to get out of the business of pointless opposition as if it's a legitimate position. I'd like you to make deals and find ways to argue them to the American people instead of just demonizing the other side, because I think that only works for you guys in the 2 parties, and the rest of the Americans watch and lose. But it doesn't matter what I want. What matters is what you're going to do now to make it better. How does this get us to a better place? What's the plan?
Well, the good news, instead of having an anointed speaker who's next in line, sort of the presumptive speaker, which we tried to disrupt back in January, and that didn't succeed. We gave him a chance, and unfortunately, he failed and confirmed the concerns that we had. Chris, what I talked to you about a lot back in January was that we couldn't keep doing what we've always done and expect a different result. And we couldn't have a Republican majority that just surrenders to the Democrats, caves to the Senate and the White House, and passes a majority of our spending bills with predominantly Democrat votes. When has the Democrat Party ever done that? Never, and of course they would not. And so that's why we needed to have change. This country is teetering. This country hanging on by a thread, if only because of the spending, Chris. And you might say, oh, Republicans are responsible too. And that is true. And that's why we did what we did, because we're not willing to go along and exacerbate the problem, perpetuate the problem, because the American people didn't elect us to do that.
So who are we going to get? You're going to get Speaker Good? Are you going to run? Who do you have lined up, and how does that get you to a better place?
Right now, Chris, I'm only 217 votes away from getting to 218. I appreciate your endorsement. Of course, that would probably hurt me instead of helping me. But this is a talented conference. We've got 221 members in the Republican conference, and I would submit that probably about 221 of those would like to be Speaker if they could. That doesn't mean that they're pursuing it ambitiously or trying to step over others. But if called upon, I assume most of the Republican majority would like to be Speaker if they could. But, Chris, the ideal candidate, this is a new concept in Washington. The ideal candidate would be somebody who is willing to serve if called upon, and who others are saying, hey, you'd make a good speaker, why don't you run, instead of someone that's been pursuing it all of their life out of selfish ambition and pride. That would be something new here in Washington. But there are individuals who I think can get to 218. But Chris, we're going to have a contest. We're going to have a competition. We're not going to have a coronation where people are afraid to raise their hand and throw their hat in the ring, which is what happened back in January. And we're going to have a meeting on. It already was announced for Tuesday night, a week from tonight. That means over the next 7 days, we'll be socializing, meeting, talking to candidates, vetting candidates, seeing who can build the coalition, and then we'll have a competition, as we should, a true contest to see who emerges. And quite frankly, we will have to come together with 218, and we will do that for the American people, do it for the country, and then that speaker will have the support of the body that chose them, instead of feeling like it was forced upon them just because, well, that was the next person in line, that person raised the most money, or everybody was afraid to say they were against the presumptive speaker because there'd be retaliation. We won't have any of that this time.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.